PI_humble. Pierre, it's on and popping.
Yes, sir, it is. As Daimeon said, going to take a short break. When we come back, though, we'll continue the discussion of this year's NBA Finals. Going to end it with oldie but goodie, the Omen. Daimeon makes his return to let us know who will win Game 7 and take home that NBA Finals trophy. This is the All Things Sport Podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
The All Things Sport Podcast, your source for a plethora of sports content.
For real? How much those scores? Because my man just bought a Miata.
Every Friday at 10 a.m. on Spreaker Radio.
What up? This is Pierre Banks, and when I'm back in Boone watching the Mountaineers, my first stop is always Mountaineer Mania. The good folks at Mountaineer Mania have the widest selection of app gear, so you can cheer on the Mountaineers in style. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, decals, cornhole sets. I mean, if you need it, they've got it. So head on down to Mountaineer Mania at 497 West King Street in Boone, and tell them I sent you.
We're back with more of the All Things Sport Podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Welcome back to the All Things Sport Podcast. I'm Daimeon. He's Pierre. We are discussing the 2016 NBA Finals, the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Game 7, Pierre. Game 7. They said it wouldn't happen, man. Golden State had a 3-1 lead in this series, and things have changed. Oh my, have things changed in the NBA Finals. And, you know, before we went to commercial break, we discussed Game 6 and how, you know, Steph Curry, you know, was in foul trouble. He and Klay Thompson did the brunt of the scoring. They didn't get much help from anyone else. Now let's move on to Cleveland, because you have to give Cleveland credit in Game 6, man. They came out fired up, jumped out to that early lead, and I wouldn't say that they never looked back because Golden State did make runs throughout the game, but Cleveland jumped out to that big lead led by LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, and mainly Kyrie Irving early. And they were able to ride that wave, you know, to a big, big victory in Game 6. What do you think, you know, the mindset of Cleveland was heading into this Game 6? I mean, I know it's back against the wall, lose and you go home. You know, it was that situation for Game 6. How was Cleveland able to come out and just build on that and jump on Golden State and build that big lead so early?
Before we get to breaking down the Cleveland Cavaliers, let me just say, Iman Shumpert.
Bruh. For real?
Why are you coming to the arena during the NBA Finals on the world's biggest stage with your hair looking like that, man? Was it Game 2 where he was looking like Little Richard out there? It's unbelievable. Now he just comes to the arena with his hair in a rubber band, man. It's not even in like any form of what do you call the things that you put in your head anyway, man? I don't know, but it's not in one of those, man. It's in one of those little small rubber bands that you put at the end of a braid. Iman Shumpert, stop it.
Bruh, for real?
Just stop it. I digress. The Cleveland Cavaliers found something, and what they found was a little continuity. They found who they are, how they play best. And I think this is about the second or third time that we've said that in these NBA playoffs, because before they were making a lot of 3-point baskets and we were saying, all right, Cleveland's found their groove. This is how they play the best. And then, you know, a slump. Now they're playing the Warriors and they're down 3-1. And now it's the two-headed monster of LeBron James, the best all-around player that maybe this league has seen, and Kyrie Irving, the next up-and-coming just athlete out of this world, contributing, you know, just as equally. But in Game 6, it was LeBron James carrying the Cavs down the stretch.
Yeah, Game 6 started off with Kyrie cooking. He had 20 first half points, and you know you could tell that it was a carryover from Game 5 where he had 41 points, along with LeBron having that 41 in Game 5. So first half in Game 6, man, Kyrie came out like a house of fire, 20 first half points, and you know LeBron had a good overall half in the first half, but he really made his mark, you know, in that second half. You know, he scored 18 straight points for the Cavaliers, man, in a point of the game where Golden State was making a move. They had cut into that lead. Cleveland, I believe, had like a 24-point lead in the fourth quarter. And, you know, Golden State had cut into that lead, and LeBron just said, okay, it's not going to happen. It's not going down like that. Let me put the team on my back. Let me take over because I have to put the onus on myself. You know, I'm not going to go out like this. Let me put the team on my back. Let me carry us to a game 7. And he scored those 18 straight points. And again, Golden State still wasn't out of the game. You know, they cut it to 9 points to start the fourth quarter. So I'm watching the game, and I'm thinking, oh man, is Cleveland going to blow this? Is Cleveland going to blow this? But in the fourth quarter, LeBron stepped up yet again. And, you know, which he is supposed to do. He's LeBron James. But listen to the pundits. Listen to the naysayers. Listen to the haters. He has no heart. He doesn't have a clutch gene. I mean, what do you want him to do? Score every single point for the Cavaliers? I mean, it's impossible. It's not going to happen. But, you know, he either scored or assisted on, you know, most of those 35 points that Cleveland scored in the fourth quarter. So you tip your hat off to LeBron James. You have to give him his props. I mean, you got to stop holding this man to an impossible standard, which he lived up to that standard tonight. I mean, that kid was incredible. And I say kid because I'm older than LeBron. And, you know, he was incredible, man. What more can you say about him? 41 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, heck of a game. And when you look at the way he did it, it wasn't like he was just, you know, taking incredibly tough shots. He did make some tough shots in that sequence, but he was getting to the basket. When someone was smaller on him, he was taking them to the cup. He was backing them down. When they were giving him that jump shot, he was taking it with confidence and draining it. You know, again, a couple tough shots in between there. A lot of shots that stopped what you so poignantly said was, you know, runs from the Golden State Warriors. So LeBron James just playing great basketball, not trying to do too much, not trying to step outside of his lane, but doing what his team needs him to do.
And another thing for game 6, which I think made a big difference in Cleveland's favor, is that Andrew Bogut was out. You know, LeBron likes to get to the basket. Kyrie plays a lot, you know, near the basket, and Bogut doesn't score a lot of points, but he rebounds and he blocks shots. He changes a lot of shots, and it deters the Cavaliers from going into the paint. But with no Bogut, you know, there's not a big shot blocker in the middle. You got LeBron going to the bucket. You got Tristan Thompson all over the boards. 15 points, 15 rebounds for Double T. And, you know, Cleveland just controlled the paint. So I think Golden State has a lot to think about for game 7. Because Bogut is out he's out for game 7 as well. And if they don't do something with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, Golden State is going to be the one giving up that 3-1 series lead like Oklahoma City did in the Western Conference Finals. And Cleveland is going to rewrite the history books. There has not been a team in the NBA Finals who have overcome a 3-1 deficit and come back and win the championship. And the way that Cleveland is playing right now, namely LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, it's quite possible that this could happen, man. Like a lot of athletes say, man, you know, why not us? And if you're a Cleveland fan, why not you? I mean, you've suffered long enough. Is this the moment where Cleveland wins their championship? Can LeBron James bring that trophy back to Cleveland? I mean, the way he played in game 6, man, you could see it in his eyes, Pierre. You could see it, man. He was all business. He was all business, and it showed on the court.
I think what it's going to come down to is who's going to make the most plays. You're inclined to believe that the Golden State Warriors will be able to make the plays they need to win, being that they're playing at home, a place where they've only lost 5 games all year. They're the best regular season team in the history of the game. They have the 2-time reigning MVP. They have someone who could easily be this year's finals MVP if they win game 7. And then you got Klay Thompson right beside him. And then you have Draymond Green, who's looking like he's due, like he's ready to burst as they head home for game 7. You know, I believe Harrison Barnes will find his stroke. Someone's going to grab Harrison Barnes, who has been abysmal 2 for 22 in his last 22 shots. He's got to find his stroke. He's got to find a way to be effective. And if you're not going to make shots from behind the arc, you got to put the ball on the floor and make a play. You got to finish at the rim. You got to create and dish. You got to do something, Harrison Barnes, to get yourself in the game. If you're Sean Livingston, you got to come in and you got to take advantage of your matchup. You know, whether it's Dellavedova, whether it's Mo Williams, you have the advantage on offense. Exploit it. That's all you need to do, and you can generate more points for your team. If you're Festus Ezeli, you got to be around the rim. You got to be grabbing stuff. You got to be finishing. You have to be what Andrew Bogut was before he got hurt. So, again, the Warriors just have to look themselves in the mirror and ask, how bad do we really want it? You know, are we going to go out here and execute? And if they do, they can easily beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, which they've shown in 3 games this season. But on the flip side of that, the Cleveland Cavaliers have shown the exact same thing, and they've got the best player in the world on their side. Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith when he wants to play basketball. You know, you can't add Shumpert. Only thing you can talk about him is his hair. He doesn't give you anything offensively, but defensively, he's in Steph Curry's hip pocket. So a lot of factors is going to go into Game 7. Who's going to come out on top? You know, will coaching play a factor? You got a second-year coach and a first-year coach. You know, so a lot of things to consider. But I'll tell you one thing that's guaranteed. It's going to be a heck of a game on Sunday.
Yes, I'm so anxious to see what adjustments both teams make, because if you're Cleveland, you just want to, you know, keep this momentum, man. You just want to play. You want to play the way you've been playing these last 2 games. And if you're Golden State, you got to try to do something different, man, because like I've said in previous podcasts many times, Pierre, the NBA playoffs are a game by game basis and game by game situation. You know, you could lose by 31 game, i.e. the Cavaliers in Game 2. And you can come back in Game 3 and win by 30. So you don't hang your head if you're Golden State. You're definitely thinking, you know, you're definitely thinking about what you have to do differently to create a different outcome, because LeBron James and Kyrie Irving are dominating offensively for the Cavaliers. I mean, I haven't seen a double team on Kyrie or LeBron. I don't know, you know, what Steve Kerr is doing on the defensive end. But you have to try to do something different, because those guys are in a groove, man. And the way that LeBron is playing right now, I don't think he can be denied. Maybe you play him for the jump shot, but his jump shot is falling all of a sudden.
Sometimes it's falling.
He was 3 of 6 from 3-point land last night. So
yeah, sometimes it's falling. Now, they will double team him sometimes, but he'll get the ball to the correct spot. He's always going to make the correct basketball play. Who they haven't been doubling is Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving is just torching them. He's torched them the past 2 games. And I said this in previous shows. As Kyrie goes, so go the Cavaliers. If he plays well, they're going to win every time.
And you know, the funny thing about it is, the last 2 games, we haven't even noticed. I guess I've noticed because I watched the games. Where the hell is Kevin Love, man? This guy's making over $100 million a year, man.
They don't get the man the ball, though. Like, they can pay him all the money in the world, but if they're not trying to get him involved in the offense, he's not going to be involved. He's not the type of person to bring the ball up the court. So it's up to Kyrie Irving or LeBron James to work the ball around. But his offensive role has been reduced to standing in the corner and waiting on his man to collapse on LeBron or Kyrie Irving and them to kick the ball out to him.
But, you know, if you're Kevin Love, you could do other things. Crash the boards. Get some offensive rebounds. Kyrie and LeBron or J.R. Smith or whatever, they're not making every shot. Don't let Tristan Thompson get every rebound. You know, you crash the boards, get yourself involved, get a lather up. And I think he could be an X factor in Game 7, because let's say Kevin Love shows up, you know, with a 19, 20 point effort. I think Cleveland wins it easily if he does that, because Cleveland's won the last 2 games with nothing from Kevin Love. I mean, it's crazy. That guy is making over $100 million. He had 7 points last night. It's crazy. And no pun intended, I love you, Kevin Love. Love your game. But get involved, man. Come to the party. You've been invited. Your name is on the guest list. Come to the party.
But apparently he doesn't have to get involved because the Cleveland Cavaliers have been exploited